im se svima, i malima i velikima, i bogatima i siromašnima, i slobodnjacima i robovima, dade žig na njihovu desnu ruku ili na čela njihova, te da nitko ne može ništa kupiti ili prodati, osim onoga ko ima žig ili ime zvijeri ili broj imena njezina.
Pozdrav dragi narode, dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu Slobodni. Je li nam prijeti nuklearni rat? Što se stvarno događa prilikom napada na Iran? Što je u pozadini? Zašto NATO pokušava ući u rat sa Rusijom? To su današnje teme i objasnit ćemo vam okolnosti u kojima je sve nastalo, što se danas događa i što je u pozadini. Moj današnji gost je bivši oficir ili časnik Njemačke vojske, doktor je medicine, istraživač, autor knjiga, a najbolje da krenemo odmah na temu. Njegovo ime je dr. Heiko Schöning. Hello Heiko, welcome to our show in Croatia.
Hello, greetings to the south, from the very north, from the Baltic Sea, and thank you very much to have me here on this program.
When we now recording this is first day of summer. That means it's very hot, but political situation is very hot, and that's why I invited you here. Can we start? What is really happening now in Iran?
So, in Iran is facing a war of aggression. So, this is very obviously. So, at least two countries are attacking in a war of aggression Iran. So, out of the blue. And this is, of course, unlegal by all the laws of the world, of common laws. And of course, as a medical doctor, I'm very against this because my purpose is life quality and the extension of life, not the reduction of life. So this is going on. But today we would be able to look behind the scenery, what is going on. And my main message is, don't be in fear for global extinction. Don't be in fear for any atomic bombs and an atomic war. So what we see in Iran and the world situation is that, to put it very simple, two criminal organizations are fighting each other. They are two worldwide criminal organizations fighting each other on the world scale, on the grand chessboard, and this is what we are seeing. And for us, as citizens of Europe, citizens of the world, the peaceful citizens, we have a great chance to look behind the curtain what is going on while these two criminal organizations are fighting each other.
Okay, let's start. First one, what do you mean by criminal organization? Is there official states or people who are running all this game behind the curtain?
Well, if we really have a deep look into history and behind the curtains, we see that criminal organizations like mafia clans, like mafia organizations, hooked up the states. So, in the West and in the East of the world. So, criminal organizations are much about the governments of some leading countries. That's proven, and I wrote about it in my two books about it. Okay, so, and could we prove that highly criminals are in government and behind government, that they are really highly criminals? Yes. So just to go a little bit back, so why I can say this, so I investigated very deeply for years a criminal case with a biological weapon, a bacterium called Bacillus anthracis. This makes a disease anthrax. And there were a biological attack in the year 2001 in the United States. It's called anthrax 01. And this was created a worldwide panic, and the US Parliament in Washington was closed for weeks because of this. You might not have heard about it anymore because, well, it came out that it was not a foreign attack. It was an inside job. It was the attack material, this weaponized bacteria from Bacillus anthracis, it came out of an US Army lab. So it was an inside job. It was a false flag. This is anthrax of 2001. And this is what I investigated. And I made this here in my first book. Yeah, you can see this from the title. This is Anthrax 01, COVID-19. So I was following up highly criminals from this attack from 2001. And I said 1 year in advance publicly that parts of these criminal organizations are planning a worldwide pandemic, a fake pandemic, in the year 2020. And this is a corona pandemic. And I predicted that this will happen. And I named before it happened the people and some of the companies, so the vaccine makers and so on. So, yeah, you see, it's and this is connected to really hard evidence to the anthrax attacks. So this is, in short, why I'm able to call these people criminals, highly criminals, and the criminal organizations behind, because they faked the anthrax attacks and they faked the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic. So, and today, the same people are behind the scenery, because when we go a little bit back, we know, okay, everybody knows this guy, Donald Trump, yeah, and he was in charge as US president at the beginning of the year 2020 when COVID-19 happened, isn't it? Yes. So Donald Trump started this campaign with COVID-19, yeah, for about a year. And now, today, in summer 2025, we see this war of aggression against Iran, and this will be the topic of today. We see the threat of atomic weapons. So multiple states here say, well, there might be the use of atomic weapons. Israel is claiming that Iran is now producing atomic weapons, yeah, and the United States, yeah, always threatening the world to use atomic weapons. And what I can say today is, don't be in fear, because the original story of the use of atomic weapons are very, very different. And this is a big chance, not only for Europe, for the whole world, because the people are now, I think, are open to this question, what about atomic bombs and the use of atomic bombs? And this is what I can try the first time in English today, yeah, as a German former officer of the army and a medical doctor, yeah, not an English native speaker, but yeah, I will try to lay down the case today with you.
Great. Let's start. First time in history, atomic bomb was used in 1945 in Japan. Can you start with this part of history?
Yes, exactly. So the good thing is there. About what happened there. So everybody knows Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, that we all were taught that the atomic bombs were dropped. And in fact, yes, so there were a very lot of casualties. Yeah, women, children, old men, yeah, died in a very crucial way. This happened, exactly. But now comes the shocker. So, yeah, this man, Dr. Michael Palmer, he is a German medical doctor, and he was a biochemist professor in Canada. And he wrote an entire big book, yeah, it's called Hiroshima Revisit. And we printed this in German language, Hiroshima Revidiert. And this is very scientific, yeah, all about the facts, what happened in Hiroshima. And I know for years, Dr. Michael Palmer himself as a person, and I trust him to say.
Let me remind my viewers, Michael Palmer was guest in Croatian Parliament, and he was also guest in my show, and also he's my personal friend, and I also trust him because I know his expertise. Well, whoever wants to see his presentation in Croatian Parliament is on YouTube channel of Croatian Parliament. Let's continue.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I didn't know this fact that you know him personally, and I didn't know that he was in Parliament. But that's great. Yeah, this was. I'm surprised. On the one hand, on the other hand, I'm not surprised because he is a good man. Yeah, and to go on, if you look at the subtitle, it's called "This is about the evidence for napalm and mustard gas, and not atomic bombs." So, Dr. Michael Palmer is claiming that in Hiroshima, 1945, there were not dropped an atomic bomb. It was the people died because of napalm, the burning agent, and the chemical weapon mustard gas, in German Senfgas. This is a very nasty chemical weapon, very much used in the First World War. And this is something, so what everybody needs to, wow, really? No atomic bomb? Yes. So we have really the scientific evidence that the people died of a chemical weapon and burning bombs, like napalm. And so the whole history is different. And the implication is that, yes, nearly every government of the world, or let's say every government of the world, went along with the story, isn't it? Everybody is saying, 80 years ago in 1945, there was atomic bomb in Hiroshima, and everybody was taught to this, isn't it? And now in August, I think it's 8th of August,
45.
Yeah, it will have an anniversary of 80 years. Yeah. And if you just take a little step back and ask yourself, could this happen? Could this be? And if you remind yourself of the COVID-19 pandemic, you see, yes, we now today, we experienced that all across the world, the governments, went along with this narrative, this false narrative of SARS-CoV-2 virus as a killer virus, and this fake pandemic. Something like this could be coordinated worldwide. Something like this happened, and it happened before. So, this is the first thing to say, wow, there is proven evidence in this, and the good message is, and his book is also available in English and in other languages. So, to make it clear, in the English edition, and so I have no financial interest in so. The only thing we did here at courage.media, is that we printed this because in German, because we saw that there's a lot of electronic censorship, so we need this as a hardcover, in a good way, so it could not be deleted. So this is the first
Heiko,
thing.
it's an important question now. Let's start with a serious question. Do they have atomic bomb?
Well, of today, I cannot say, to be honest. So, I think, yes, it looks like they have atomic bombs today, but I'm not sure. And I cannot see any evidence that there are atomic bombs today. But what I can say is that in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 80 years ago, there were no atomic bombs. And now, I will add some facts of my own research to this thing.
Let me just ask you something. We saw pictures of testing atomic bombs in the Pacific Ocean. I think that French done it. And also read some papers that even today we are feeling radiation activity because of this testing. We can see this measuring carbon, isotope of carbon. It's calling C14. And we're measuring today because we want to see what is the reason of climate changes. And with measuring, we have isotope C12, C13, and C14. And this C14, it's radioactive. And I read a document where they said that's because of this testing of nuclear weapons during the 50s. This is part that I know.
Yeah, maybe, So, but I want to go now up to today. What does it mean, First is, and I don't want to say anything else, is that Hiroshima, we have evidence that Hiroshima was faked, a faked event. And today, we have this, it's building up in the West and the East, the threat of atomic weapons.
Please,
The effect
just
is
say.
we are in fear.
It's important to say it's faked as an atomic attack. This happened, but people die from something else. And now we know the story that was atomic attack on Japan. But you say that this is the fake story. Story is that they died from other bombs, from chemical weapons, and everything was said in this book of Michael Palmer.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, it is. So the people died, and this was cruel. This was fake. So this was real. Yeah, but the weapon was different. So in 1945 there were no atomic bombs, and now, so Michael Palmer laid down all the scientific evidence, and I can add some facts, and this will lead to very important things for today. So the question is, who did this? Who arranged this? And I will show you today a man who is so important, John J. McCloy. He is so important that you will not understand the history of Europe, the history of the world for the last 100 years if you don't know his crimes and his CV. So I printed him, that's his face and his name connected to atomic weapons in my last book, and this is available in English as well, Attack on the Microbiome, So, and here's the key figure. So as a medical doctor, I asked myself, how can I explain this to other people, to my patients? Because all the details, of course, are very more complicated. This is a reason why I'm writing books with all the references in the back, and why we made all these drawings in the thing. But to understand, I think the best way is to focus on the person of John J. McCloy. Okay, so John J. McCloy, he is an American, and he was the son of the hairdresser of the Rockefeller family in the United States. So the billionaires of the Rockefeller families had a hairdresser, and he was the son. And he was the tennis and sailing teacher of David Rockefeller, Nelson Rockefeller, so the 5 Rockefeller boys. He was just a few years older than him. And they gave him the money for a university study in Harvard, and he worked for the Rockefellers and all. This is now important. It's near to Croatia. He went in the early 1920s for 1 year to Milano, to Milan, in Italy, and he was financing and supporting Mussolini. So he was really giving money and building up the fascist state of Italy in the 1920s. So he was personally there, and did this, like as an agent, And then in the then he married in the United States the sister of this woman. This is Mrs. Zinser. So he married Ellen Zinser. She's from German origin, but raised up in New York. And directly after their honeymoon, they went to Paris in the early 1920s. And from Paris, he was building up the fascism in Germany, and like an agent, and financing and making a lot of things. And in 1936. He was invited by Hermann Göring and Adolf Hitler into the launch of the in this Olympic Stadium in Berlin, while the Olympic Games in Berlin, 1936. Sitting next to Hitler and to Göring. This was him. And then only 4 years after this, in 1940, this man was chosen as a deputy secretary of war in the United States. So he was the assistant secretary of war of the United States. So McCloy was running for the United States of America, the Second World War, for the next 5 years, from 1940 to 1945. So the Minister of War, so the Secretary of War, Henry Stimson, he was an old man, he did everything. And now we're coming a little bit closer to this event in Hiroshima. So Michael Palmer claimed it was mustard gas, what was used in Hiroshima. And what you need to know is that McCloy was the son-in-law of this man, of Frederick Zinser. Yeah, Frederick Zinser, German-American origin. So he was the father of his wife. And it happens that Frederick Zinser, he was the world's largest producer of mustard gas, of chemical weapons in the world. Yeah? And they produced 75 tons of this chemical weapon per day. Yeah? This was more than the production of whole Europe. So, yeah, oops, what? You never heard about this, yeah? And now comes an event, what was very close to Croatia. It happens in Italy in the year 1943. And I would like to show the picture. So we made a draft on this.
Okay.
So to show it to the people.
Here's the first picture.
Yes, thank you. So most of the people think that chemical weapons like mustard gas was only used in his First World War. This is wrong, not in the Second, and this is wrong. So what happened in 1943? The U.S. military, led by John J. McCloy, in the day-by-day running, they deployed mustard gas to Italy, to the front against the Germans. And they shipped them by ships into the harbor of Bari. So not far away from former Yugoslavia, just very close. And this is, of course, a crime of war, because it is forbidden, and it was forbidden and is still forbidden to put chemical weapons into conflict, into war, and even to transport them to this. But this happened. And the German airplanes, the military airplanes, they bombed the harbor and the ships. And what happened is, one ship was full of the weapons of the father-in-law of McCloy with mustard gas. So they blown up, and all this mustard gas was mixing with the water, and there were about 600 casualties in 1943 in Bari, in Italy. And they died in a very cruel way. And guess what? The US military kept it all secret, and even the medical doctors were not given the information that it was mustard gas. So the people died, and even their civilians died there in Italy, because of mustard gas, of a chemical weapon. And this is a big crime committed by John J. McCloy. And nobody, only a few people knows about this. So just keep in mind, we have an event 2 years before Hiroshima, with a shipload of mustard gas, and about 600 people died about this. And then 2 years going on, we had this event in Hiroshima, and we have this evidence that it was a big bombing with mustard gas and not with atomic bombs. And yes, it was in collaboration with the Japanese government. So the Japanese industrialists, the power structures, they had the chance to say, okay, we're giving up. And what happens in Japan is that all their old power structures, they kept in place. They kept in power in Japan, much more than it is the case in West Germany after the Second World War. If you look just behind this. So, and again, all I can say is, wow, we need to know the history and the crimes of John J. McCloy, and his family, the German-American Censure family. Yeah, this is something what we have to keep in mind. And what happened, to close with this, it's very important for the Germans, because after the Second World War, what happens to John J. McCloy? He went as a military governor of West Germany to Europe, and he stayed there until the German state was created. And guess what? Who was the first head of the state of Western Germany? It was a close relative to him. It was Konrad Adenauer, Chancellor Konrad Adenauer. Yeah, this is this man. Yeah, very known, of course, in Germany, because he was the first chancellor for 15 years. Yeah, he married a Mrs. Censure. Yeah, and John J. McCloy married Censure. So
These are two sisters.
we're cousins.
Cousins.
Yes. So the
Their wives are cousins.
grandfathers of the wives were brothers. The grandfathers of the wives were brothers, and they were close together. And he went to Germany, made up Germany. He was making up the European Union with Jean Monnet. Yeah, never collaborate with him. So it was all about him. And then, yeah, and I will close with this. John J. McCloy was then president of the World Bank. The World Bank, what is affecting all the crimes in the world. So this is a real story behind it. So if we hear today about atomic bombs and all the things, I can only say it's staged, because after 1945, they wanted to pressure all the people in the world into a one world government. And one world government, it looks like, is the same goal and same topic 80 years after this. Thank you very much.
Okay, then you say today that our same circumstances, this is just play for people, and main goal is to make new world government to run whole world. And now these two organizations, you call them criminal organizations, are fighting each other. Both of them had the same goal, to make global governance of whole world one world government. Am I right?
Yes, this is right. To put it in a very easy and mild way, to see this, and I depict this in So even a card game that you can say, okay, here with cross, you've got this team, and if you have the other team, like with say with peak, how we call this, that's another team, When you have this here with like with Gates and with Fauci. These are two separate mafia clans, but in the big picture, they're working together. But now they are very in fight to go, okay, which way, they want to establish one world government. And the Rockefellers, so they're the forces behind John J. McCloy, and there are other forces behind, but to put it very simple, the Rockefellers, they were one of the very supporters of the United Nations, and they are very supporters of today's China. So they invested heavily in China, and all the industry of the United States went to China, and a lot of industry of Europe went to China. They building up China as a new model. That's the one thing. And another group don't want this way. And to put it very simple, you can see, okay, these are criminal organizations. Both criminal organizations want war. And I put it like this. So there's one criminal organization who wants peace with Russia and war with Iran, represented by this man, by Donald Trump. And you had another one, another group wanted exactly the opposite. They want war with Russia and peace with Iran. And this was represented by Barack Obama, as we know before, and with this other guy, Joe Biden. So Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they made a peace treaty with Iran years ago, and they created this situation in Ukraine, with war with Russia. And Donald Trump's clan, they just want it the other way. They want peace with Russia and war with Iran. So that's the whole situation. And up to the end, we see there are really economic interest behind this, and this could be interesting for Croatia as well.
Okay, let's repeat for our audience. That means you think that there's a two clans. One has a goal to make a peace with Russia and war with Iran, and this group is led by Trump. Second group was
not led. He's not a leader. He's a showman.
Okay, he's represented by Trump. The second group is with Barack Obama and Joe Biden, who made agreement with Iran, but made war with Russia through Ukraine. Both of them want to build up one world government, but they want to settle it on different way.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Okay,
it's very important.
Let's continue now. Why you think that we don't need to be worried about nuclear weapon?
Well, so what is because they try to trick us as citizens of the world 80 years ago in 1945. They faked this event in Hiroshima. And if you go back into history, what happened right after the event of the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? There was an initiative by John J. McCloy, by the Rockefellers, by the United Nations, to say we need to immediately establish one world government. This happened after the Second World War. It was led by Sir Bertrand Russell, just by the way, and others, the Huxley brothers, and others. And they tried to force all governments in the world into an agreement. Oh, we have now this atomic weapon, such a disastrous situation. So every government should give up the sovereignty, should give up the weapons, and only one entity, our entity, the United Nations, has got the power. And think of today what could happen. It's so mad what happens that the NATO and especially Germany is provocating Russia, with rockets like the Taurus weapons, and the British does this with the Storm Shadow weapons, and they acting like Russia had no atomic weapons, isn't it? So they acting in Germany like, oh, Russia has no atomic weapon to retaliate. And as an officer of the German army, and I was best in class at the officers' school, so long years ago, So strategically, I can say this is mad. But if you look behind very deeply, go back 80 years ago with John J. McCloy, you see, oh, in the end, it's simple. It's a fear scenario to bring us into the same thing. And just imagine if now in Iran, in Israel, or in Europe, in Russia, or in Germany, or in Croatia, there will be an event of an atomic bomb, a real atomic bomb or a fake atomic bomb. Doesn't matter, So the people will have so much fear, like COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2 virus, to say, oh, please, 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 solve the situation. What is the solution? And we will give up our freedoms, That's it. That's the aim, We'll give all our freedoms to have peace, So this is my main message.
Let's remind that the new chancellor, German Chancellor Merz just recently said that the main threat what is coming to Germany is from Russia. At the same time, Russia is telling that they don't have any plan to attack any of NATO member states. They are focusing only on Ukraine. That is something that is going in favor of your theory.
Yes, it is. And this is the reason why I had Merz, in my game, in my cards game, so long ago. I can't find him now. He's not a real important figure. Even he was a German boss of BlackRock, but he's a puppet like Donald Trump. And you need to ask yourself why Chancellor Merz is telling these crazy things, or Ursula von der Leyen. They are not telling this by themselves. They have guidance. And this is the chance what we could investigate. So what are really the things behind? And if I may ask for a favor, I would ask your audience in Croatia and all the former Yugoslavia and so on. So today, I showed you the man here, John J. McCloy. And he was in the 1920s, he was active in Milano, in Italy. And he was responsible for the criminal act of the chemical weapons use in Bari, 1943. So because you have a closer relationship to Italy, maybe some of your viewers have more information about these events, about John J. McCloy, about Italy and the building up of the Mussolini fascism, so that we can, building more bricks into our scientific forensic research.
Yeah. And you also mentioned there's an important figure here who allegedly passed away, killed himself, Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, and you said that there is a big role of him in, and also his state, Israel state. Can you explain us what is their role?
Okay, this is much, but we can make just like two parts. But yes, I can do. So the very interesting thing is, and this is what we made in our at our publishing house, printing. Yeah. There is another very good investigative journalist in the world, and she's American. Her name is Whitney Webb, and she was writing 2 volumes of this book in German. Eine Nation unter Erpressung, Blackmail, One Nation under
Pressure.
Yeah. So, and very interesting. And this is great stuff. And we translated this into German and printed this as a book, so for non-digital censorship. And the very interesting thing is, in her first volume, you can even watch it up in her English original. Yeah, she mentioned the plane pilot of Hiroshima. Yeah, I came across. Wow, what? Paul Tibbets was the army pilot in 1955 of the Enola Gay, the plane who allegedly dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Paul Tibbet. And now I will he is connected to the Epstein Israeli mafia. Yeah. So and this is so interesting because in all my research here, I see it's all connected. There are only a few people in the end. Yeah. And Paul Tibbets, who allegedly dropped the atomic bomb in Hiroshima, what he did after the Second World War, he became an executive at an aviation company. Okay, so and I will read this from this book now. So in 1965, the company adopted the name Executive Jet Aviation and created a subsidiary based in Switzerland. The Swiss subsidiary was largely led by Paul Tibbets, who served as its executive vice president and general manager. Tibbets, who had also been a founding member of the Executive Jet Aviation, is best known as the pilot of the Enola Gay, when it dropped an atomic bomb on the Japanese city of Hiroshima at the close of the World War II. And now it comes, this airline, this small airline, Executive Jet Aviation, was involved in child abuse and sex trafficking and all the sex crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. Because another one, yeah, it's all detailed in my books and in Whitney Webb books, yeah. So Jeffrey Epstein ran an airline in Ohio, Columbus, in the United States, and they used pilots of this executive jet aviation as well. And another executive manager from this company, he was very much involved in all these child abuse and sex trafficking as well. And the pilots in the airline was used by Jeffrey Epstein and by his manager, Leslie Wexner. So Leslie Wexner, yeah, he is a very big mafia figure in head, and he is still alive. Yeah, he is the owner of Victoria's Secrets, yeah, the lingerie factory, and Abercrombie and Fitch, just by the way. Yeah, and Jeffrey Epstein was his right hand, and Jeffrey Epstein was a very lot of times in the White House, very close to Bill Clinton and very close to Donald Trump, and the things so on. And how do I know, and why it's in my book here, Attack on the Microbiome? Because what they're planning for today, and I showed this, is that Leslie Wexner, they put more than $1 billion into a medical center, the Wexner Medical Center. It's this one, And guess what I'm doing? The head, a leading figure of this is this woman, Dr. Deborah Goff, and she's the global antibiotics manager. So this is all about the bacteria attack. I present it in my book. So I don't want to go into the details. It gets too complicated. But my message is, it's all connected. And again, the pilot of the atomic bomb is in the same airline. Now, a general manager, this is connected to all this blackmail thing and so on. So it's one network of crime.
Well, everything looks very complicated, of course, because there is a lot of things that needs to be connected. But for sure now it's very shocking that there is a connection with very few people, as you said here, from already before Second World War and also until today. And we see the same pattern. We see the same pattern for preparing for war, for all other crises, like was pandemic and, as you say, maybe future pandemic because of bacteria. For the conclusion, we need to conclude something because for sure we cannot really connect all the dots, but we can see this, there is a tracks, we need to investigate more. But what is the point of everything else here? What do you think it will happen in next period? We have now in front of us still war in Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine, that's a proxy war where United States is leading from the other side. What do you think? What will happen? What are you expecting? And what do you suggest how we can act in this?
Okay, so what we should do is we should inform ourselves that we do not get tricked. It's like in a military game. First is to trick the opponent, and they are against us as a population. So my first message of today is, don't be tricked by an event of an atomic bomb and what is happening now by the event of an atomic threat, because we see this atomic threat in the last months. It already happened. So don't be afraid. Go back to the history, what happened. And my second message is, and we will close with this, so it's about economic control. It's about power and control, nothing else. And what we see in Iran and in Gaza, the Gaza Strip, one might ask themselves, what is going on? And I try to explain this very, very simple, that we have two different criminal organizations, fighting each other. And to put a picture, what is going on and why Gaza, I will show you a graphic. So please put it on. So a map of the world, because it's very much about the transport lines between Asia and Europe.
Okay, can you explain? We have here two pictures. Upper picture we see two links. One is Silk Road Economic Belt, and the other one is Maritime Silk Road Initiative. Can you explain what are these two?
Yes. To look at the upper picture, what we see is the Chinese One Belt, One Road initiatives, or auch Belt Road Initiatives, BRI. That's what we see. So most of the people are now familiar with this, that China wants to establish new links on the maritime way, so on the seaways, and plus on the road, so on the land. So finding ways to export their products to Europe, and to get fossils and fuels back to China, So this is what they want. And let's say the Anglo-Americans don't want this, and try to make war on the way, like in Afghanistan and so on, And they still have the naval the naval power to block China. So this is one thing. And the other thing why Gaza is so important is the second picture down. It's not very known, but it's very official. It's official from the European Union, from Saudi Arabia, and from India. It's the initiative called India East Europe Middle East Economic Cooperation, EMEEC. And the idea behind is that, Ursula von der Leyen from the European Commission and the Americans, or parts of the Americans, they want a fight against China, and they want to partner with India, so that the production, will be put into India, not into Europe, not into the United States. So there will be no "Make America Great Again." Forget about it. But they want, and this is official, they want to establish a way from India via Saudi Arabia to Gaza. And what they want is, they want to establish a big new port at the Gaza Strip. On the map, it's called, they want to use the port of Haifa in Israel, but forget about it. I was 30 years ago, I was in Haifa myself. So it's not suitable. It's too small, and the area, you can't build a big port. You need a big new strip. And this is exactly what they're bulldozing now in Gaza, isn't it? And they want to build a big container port in Gaza, to connect with good old Europe, with on the map with Athens, with Greece, but they are trying to get Italy into the game, that they can go to Trieste, and to Venice and to Genoa, and to the Adria. So this is much about Croatia itself, And this way, if they want to establish, it's like pipelines, It's like a war of pipelines. Which way will be established? They will have the leading power of the next 100 years in the world, and this is a very fight. What is going on?
Okay, let's see what is the place of Croatia here. Let's see a last picture. Just explain us what are Croatian possibilities in this global game.
Yes, if you see then the second picture, it's just a little bit more detail of the end of their India, East Asia, Europe economic cooperation. So you see, the published plan is to connect India with Saudi Arabia, with Israel, with Greece and Athens, and then go by railways through the former Yugoslavia, through Croatia, to the big economies, Germany, France, and so on, in the heart of Europe. So, and they want, I think, even for the Croatian politicians, I'm sure they will try to bribe, even Croatian politicians to say, here, if we build this railway, it will be good for your country and will be good for your pockets, and so on and so on. But in the end, and this is my final message, we shouldn't do this. We, the people, we do not accept the cruel crimes, what happened now in Gaza, in the Ukraine. Any war of aggression is bad, and they want to try to put us in a very, very fear of an atomic bomb event. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Heiko, for your time, for your expertise. Continue, and we'll see each other. We'll be in contact very soon.
Thank you. All the best.
Evo, dragi narode, danas sam ponudio jednu potpuno novu perspektivu ovih događaja koji se ovog trenutka događaju. Dakle, dok snimam ovu emisiju, a i dok budete gledali ovu emisiju, još uvijek će ta tema biti aktualna. Ono što želim ovom emisijom poručiti jeste da stvari nikada nisu onako kao što nam se čine, pogotovo onako kao što nam mainstream mediji prezentiraju. Upamtite, mainstream mediji su PR agencije koje guraju neki narativ zbog kojeg su motivirani uglavnom financijski. Ne da vas informiraju, nego da vam formiraju mišljenje. Zato je potrebno istraživati, to je ono što ja radim. Razgovaram i povezujem se sa ljudima koji istražuju, koji postavljaju pitanje i koji otkrivaju stvari koje su često puta vrlo neugodne. Jer istina nije u pitanju da li je ugodna ili neugodna. Ona je takva kakva jest. Sad je na nama da je prihvatimo i da se prema njoj odnosimo kao prema istini ili da jednostavno nastavimo živjeti u svojim uvjerenjima. To je naš izbor. Moj zadatak je ovdje da vam dovedem što više informacija i možda da si postavite pitanje koliko duboko se može ići u tu zečju rupu. Koliko toga ćemo još doznati što stoji iza zavjese. Ako su nas tijekom pandemije mogli lagati baš sve, i danas imamo više nego dovoljno dokaza da cijeli narativ pandemije je bio lažan. Od maski, mjera, zatvaranja, lockdowna, negiranja postojanja lijeka do uvjeravanja koliko je taj virus opasan i koliko je ta bolest smrtonosna, do pogrešnih liječničkih protokola koji su u stvarnosti ubijali ljude, a ne liječili, do na kraju cjepiva koje ne samo da nije sigurno i nije efikasno, nego je dapače smrtonosno. Dakle, ako su mogli u jednom takvom velikom globalnom događaju sve nas lagati i danas znamo da je tako, a zašto nas ne bi lagali kad je u pitanju rat u Ukrajini, rat sa Iranom između Izraela i Irana ili sve ono što sad priprema američka administracija, izraelska administracija ili Evropska unija koja se priprema da odvoji 5% od našeg GDP-a za naoružavanje. Nedavno je predsjednik Sabora rekao Hrvatska će odvojiti 5% GDP-a. Oni koji su ekonomisti jako dobro znaju da mi nemamo otkud proizvesti 5% GDP-a za odvajanje za oružje, osim da ponovno zadužimo sljedeće generacije kao što je u pandemiji gospodin Plenković zadužio Next Generation EU koju sada od 2028. do 2058. sljedeće generacije moraju vraćati samo zato što su uništili gospodarstvo nerazumnim mjerama koje jasno je nisu bile potrebne i jasno je nisu bili proizvedene u nekom znanstvenom okruženju nego očigledno po planu i naredbi. Stoga promatrate ove današnje informacije iz 100 kuta, postavljate se pitanja, istražujte i dalje. Nećemo donositi zaključke osim jednog, ne želimo rat, ne želimo ubijanje i bez obzira od kud dolazi ti savjeti, bez obzira koji su motivi, mi uvijek kao običan čovjek možemo reći ne, mi nemamo neprijateljstvo prema drugim narodima, mi ne želimo u tome sudjelovati. Nadam se da ste zadovoljni sa današnjom emisijom i vidimo se uskoro u sljedećoj epizodi Slobodni.
Nitko vas neće natjerati da se poklonite zvijeri, učinit ćete to svojevoljno, odbacujući vjeru. Bićete laka meta za zvijeri, jer se niste podredili vjeri. Ako se ne podredite vjeri, podredit ćete se zvijeri. Toliko ćete se suobličiti sa ovim svijetom, da nećete ni prepoznati da ste u zabludi. Biće to najveća demonska prevara ikada i pravedno zaslužena osuda nad nepokajanim grešnicima.
Gdje su svi oni koji su